Hello everyone, this is Adhish. I'm a grade 10 student from Mumbai. So today's problem is called closing the tweets. This problem is a cakewalk problem and the only prerequisite you need to know to be able to solve this problem is basic implementation. So before I explain the problem statement and my solution for this problem, you should go to this URL and you should try the problem on your own. And after you have tried the problem on your own, you can see my explanation. So in this problem, we are basically given n tweets on a page. Initially, all the tweets are closed and the tweets can be opened by clicking on it. So we are given a sequence of k clicks made by one person, Jack, and we need to guess. So Ivan is the other person who needs to guess the total number of open tweets just after each click. And we need to basically answer the question for Ivan. So we are given in the input, the first line is n and k, which is the number of tweets on the page and the number of clicks made. And in each of the k lines, we are given click X or close all. So click X will basically reverse the parity of the X'd tweet. So basically clicking on the tweet will close it if it is open and will open it if it is closed. And close all will basically close all the tweets. And after each of this k lines, we need to print the number of open tweets just after making the ith click. So the ith click can be either one of these two options, and we need to find out how many open tweets are there after making this click. So for example, if n is 3 and k is 6, this means that there are 3 tweets, 1, 2 and 3. Initially all the tweets are closed, so I'll represent them by 0. So all the tweets are closed. And for each query, we need to basically simulate the operation. So in the first query, we are given click 1. So that will basically reverse the parity of the first position. So the new, basically the new array or the new setup will be 1, 0, 0. So only the first one will be open. And this means that the answer would be 1 for this case. Then click 2 would reverse the parity of 2. So that would make it 1, 1, 0. And the answer would be 2 in this case. Then click 3 would make it 1, 1, 1. And this would make the answer 3. Then click 2 would reverse 1 to a 0. And that's why the answer would be 2. Then close all would basically make all zeros, because all would be closed after this. And the answer would be 0 because there are no open tweets. And in the last case, you would do click 1. So that would make it 1, 0, 0. And that's why the answer would be 1. And you can verify that 1, 2, 3, 2, 0, 1 is the correct output for this example. So now I'll explain my solution by first observing the constraints, because the constraints are very critical for this problem. They have told us that n and k are both less than or equal to 1000. That means if we just simply simulate the problem statement and do exactly what the problem is asking us to do, we will get an O of n into k solution, which will easily work, which will be 10 to the power of 6 operations, which will easily work within 1 second. And that's all that we need to do in this problem. So basically we need to store a Boolean array of n elements. And whenever we have click I, we need to reverse the parity of I. So basically make a 0 to a 1 or the 1 to a 0 depending on the situation at the ith position or the ith tweet. And basically when we have a close all operation, we just need to set all the elements to 0, and that's all that we need to do. Note that if the time complexity is n into k, if the limits were higher and an O of n solution would be expected, or O of n log n solution would be accepted, then we would use a segment tree to handle the point updates and the range set queries. But we don't need to know about segment tree because the constraints are very slow, very small. So now I'll show you the code which exactly implements this process. So in my code, I use a boolean array is open of size n plus 1. Initially, all of them are set to false because all of the tweets are closed. Then I basically first had read NN key and then I set the boolean vector. Then for each query, I take in the string type. If the type of the query is a click, then I take in the position of the click and I basically set that value to be the opposite of what it was. And then like this is the click operation. Otherwise we have a close all operation. So for all I going from 1 to n, I'll basically put is open of I to be 0. And then I'll basically count the number of open characters. So I'll accumulate them using the count variable and I'll print count in the end. So that's all that's there in this problem. The time complexity is n into k as I just said. And I'll just submit this problem to see that it gets accepted. So as you could see, my code got accepted. If you like this problem and if you liked my solution to this problem, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. If any part in my solution was unclear, don't forget to leave a comment down below.